Here we go. Hey guys, American Beards here. Welcome to your weekly dose of America. We just got back, as you guys saw from Facebook, from the DNC convention. Made it out by the skin of our teeth. It was just touch and go there toward the end. You know, they were a little rowdy.
A little bit.
You know, I didn't really appreciate when I asked you to go get the car, you actually driving off. I meant go get the car and come back and get me. So
I had no intention of bringing you back.
there was some communication problems. I'm a little sore from the amount of running I had to do to catch up to you. But you know, I guess you were safe, so what the hell? We're all happy, right? Speaking of the DNC, I mean, that kind of dominated the news this week, and I'm sure that dominated everybody else's news feed this week. You know, for as much as the RNC, they wanted to make it out like it was a rowdy affair, which really, if you took out the whole Ted Cruz thing, it really wasn't that eventful. But the DNC was non-stop, you know?
Every day it seemed like something was going on. Yeah.
It was every day. I think the biggest problem they had was the rowdiness from their Bernie Sanders supporters. You know. I mean,
why don't you go ahead and we'll start this off right, and you can tell us how you feel about the Sanders supporters who think they can get away morally voting for Hillary.
Should I scoot in for this one? Listen up. Your whole purpose for voting for Bernie was going against the establishment. He raised all this money. You guys gave him all this money to run as the anti-establishment candidate. And he turns around and throws his full support behind the establishment candidate. So basically, he made everybody that was a Bernie supporter look like a total douchebag, you know. And now, if you're a Bernie supporter out there, you can't possibly vote for Hillary in good conscience, you know. After what was all said and what everybody went through, I mean, if you want a non-establishment candidate, I mean, you got Trump, you know. Talk about non-establishment, but that type of hypocrisy drives me nuts, man. I know it drives you nuts. You kind of, as soon as it comes up, it's just like text. A lot of bold capitalizing and exclamation points.
I don't really understand where a Sanders supporter would get off voting for Hillary. And I think the only thinking behind it is that they're voting within the party, even though it's the party that, you know, degrades America and, you know, race baits and everything else.
It is the party.
If they want to vote somebody who's non-political into, you know, presidential office, they got one candidate, and it's not Clinton.
Old, you know, speaking on the, you know, what we were saying just a second ago with the DNC, and, you know, and I said that they're the party of hate. I mean, you talk about a party that can do no wrong with their constituents, you know. I mean, it's, you know, they get caught with emails and, you know, voicemails, I mean, completely degrading minorities. And it's, I mean, it got maybe like a few hours on a Wednesday afternoon of coverage, and that's the end of it. Like, those vultures, if that would have been Trump, we'd still be talking about it, you know? I mean, it's, you know, I don't even know the exact quote from Wasserman Schultz there. I mean, that Nazi bastard, she's talking about, you know, Mexicans as like taco voters or something like that, or
I'm gonna have to Google it before we're over.
It's got something to do with like their Taco Bell voters,
Taco Bowl candidates or voters or something.
But that right there, and that shows you that, you know, two guys that watch this stuff constantly, and I don't even know what the exact quote is, you know. So how would I expect somebody that really doesn't pay that much attention to know about it? But, you know, they will turn it around and say, continue to bash on the RNC as the, you know, this party of hate, and there's not a whole lot to back up that statement, you know. What do you got?
The exact verbiage is the emails referred to Latino voters as the Taco Bowl outreach.
See? The Taco Bowl outreach. I mean, who can get away with saying that?
If Trump would have gotten caught saying that, they would have executed him on live television.
Yeah. And which, I mean, here's an interesting dynamic about the Spanish population, or majority of Mexican population, as far as their voting habits. They would, on paper, if you looked at it, should align up with the Conservative Party almost 1-to-1. I mean, as far as they're deeply religious, you know, they're hardworking, they're family-oriented, they're, you know, they're mostly anti-gay, you know, which tends to align more on the conservative side of things. But because the Democratic Party has, you know, dangled this free, whatever, free, you know, they abandon all those principles
the
to
party
go to the
and the media.
Free.
It's not just the party, it's the media too, and they skew it in a way that, you know, Trump said he wants to build a wall. He's not saying that he hates Hispanics. He's saying that our borders need security. There needs to be, I mean, look at Israel. Israel has one of the biggest walls you could possibly have built. They got sniper towers on the top of their wall. And nobody freaked out over them building that. But the liberal media wants to skew it in a way that Latino voters vote against the conservative.
And they've done a good job of it, you know. I mean, they're Democratic voters, or whoever, as far as the media, who's ever trying to influence Democratic voters, don't have to deal with facts and figures and results.
Right.
They deal strictly in emotion, and I mean that lends itself to lies. You know, I mean, it's the Democratic Party is not only the party of hate, but the party of lies. They and no fact checking matters. You know, it's our new bobblehead. You guys can find that online. I think I put a I put a link to buy that Facebook, I think, but you know, maybe I'll try to put that link up on Facebook again. They were on back order last time I checked, but it's pretty funny. They had all kinds of different bobbleheads on there. That one seemed the most appropriate. But if you want to kind of stretch this out a little bit as far as the scope of the elections, you've got another dark horse that could influence things in Gary Johnson. You know, he could easily end up being the Ross Perot of this election. You know.
I mean, I definitely think he's taken votes from both parties. You have the liberals who refuse to vote for Hillary, but also refuse to vote conservative. So they're looking for an out. They want to vote, even though they know that Johnson is not going to win. They want to feel like their vote counts against the other two.
Yeah.
And in this election, I feel like and I don't disagree 100% with Johnson. I don't at all.
No.
But I feel like it's hurting the chances at reviving America in hopes of, you know, Trump actually taking the election. I think that the people afraid to vote for Hillary, who are going to vote for Johnson just as the safe way of voting, I hope that they consider all their options before doing it. And I know people on both sides of the fence. I have friends on both sides of the fence. Extremely liberal friends who just can't stand the Clintons and think Hillary Clinton's a joke. Especially with everything that's actually been brought to light. I don't know, man. It's a tricky election.
Yeah, Gary Johnson. If you look at some of his statements, his platform, his views, he's got some excellent points on a few things. If you want to bring up a couple on there, we'll go over them. But for the most part, there's a lot of things on there that I can't disagree with. I mean, the whole Libertarian Party, I can get down with that for sure. But my only concern is the pulling the votes away from Trump. I mean, if we thought that it had if he had the machine behind him and the money behind him and he's not even going to get into the debates, which just puts him at a massive disadvantage. And I'm not saying that's right or that's wrong, but that's the system that we got to deal with at the moment. And if that results in Hillary becoming president, then we got a problem. I mean, that's the last thing you want. You got anything on that?
There's a lot with Johnson that I don't agree with. On the other end of things, there's a lot I do agree with, and it makes sense that the more libertarian, left-wing voters are swaying towards him more in this election than the last, because he's ran how many times?
Yeah, he's been
It's just
around.
like Rand Paul. I mean, you guys ran for the last 3 elections, and it's just one of those, for lack of a better term, third parties that they'll never win just because of the way the government system is rigged. But
he's, as to my knowledge, he's a small government guy, Gary Johnson, correct?
You can say that.
Again, I don't know enough about him. I haven't really dove too deep into it because I only have so many hours in the day, and I'm going to spend my time. If I thought for a second that that he was a viable candidate, I'd be all over it. And I know everybody out there is going to start throwing numbers like, oh, if we all voted and blah blah blah, And I mean, I'm sure that's the case, but it's not, So we just got to be realistic about what we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, he's anti-Obamacare. He's pro-Second Amendment. He's pro-law-abiding citizens protecting themselves and defending their families and everything. On the other end of things, I read something that he believes prostitution would be safer if it was legal.
That's a win for you, dude. What do you mean?
Well,
score.
Legal and more regulated.
That's
there's
more aligned
too much
with you
because
I like my prostitution completely unregulated myself.
Well, we can tell that, yeah.
And we can debate that all day long. I like to run a loose operation over there.
I want to say, he's for legalizing marijuana. I lean more conservative as opposed to you who leans, more libertarian, but you also are, pro-Trump in this election cycle, and I just think there's a lot of dangers behind voting third party in this election
in particular,
because I've said it before, and I will I'll say it until she loses the election. If Clinton is elected and America thought that the last 8 years were bad, they have no idea what's in store.
And that was something I think me and you were both preaching, before Obama was elected. Nobody believed, they got caught up in the whole, yes we can, and now everybody sees 8 years later that no we can't, and no we didn't. And it's been some mega damage. I mean, we've done nothing but dig a bigger hole for ourselves in all aspects of government. So now it's going to take even more of the taxpayer, the hardworking American, to get us back on track. And like Ronald Reagan used to say, the best thing government can do is get out of the way. That nobody knows how to put this country back on track more than regular, average, everyday, hardworking people. And if they get the government off their back, we'd be singing along.
That's to rabbit trail off into Trump. You got liberal media, and not even just liberal media, but liberals in general, who talk about his bankrupt businesses. He's had, I guess I'll look this up so I'm not just,
to the stats.
Pulling it out.
I know the stat that you're looking for, the amount of businesses.
Like 5 or 6 businesses have been bankrupt
out of
what, 500 that he started or founded?
The percentage is so below what the average American would.
But nobody will look that up.
No.
They hear MSNBC and CNN say all this and take it for what it is.
Well, those businesses that were bankrupt, those, again, I know nothing behind the story, but I'm going to just assume on opinion that they bankrupted and went through the legal processes of bankruptcy and didn't ask for a government bailout like, the auto industry got. And,
And the banking.
He's not the, yeah. He's not the first guy to have a business bankrupt. I'll put my money on that guy if you're telling me his track record is in the single digits percentage-wise of failed bankrupt companies. I'd bet on him all day long, But it only takes that one time that they'll harp on and try to drag him down. But regardless, if he even ever started one business, that's one more business than Obama's ever started. One more than, Hillary has ever started. These jokers, Democrats are always career politicians, slash career criminals. So, a lot of businessmen you see, especially in local elections, that they come out of the business world and go into politics because they know how to run an operation, whether it's government, business, whatever. They know how to deal with people. They understand that there's budgets. Now Obama, Hillary, they've blasted along, had a silver spoon the whole time. Never had to deal with a budget where you only have this amount of money, you can only spend that amount of money. They're like, here we go. You need something, you just write a check. Steal from Social Security. They write checks like it's a open account over there.
Over 500 businesses Trump has started.
And out of those,
I believe it's 11 or 14 ended in bankruptcy. However, they were Chapter 11 bankruptcies and not Chapter 13, which Chapter 11 bankruptcy it's a reorganization where everybody still gets paid. It's not just a complete elimination of the business and the employees.
like I think they call it like a restructuring bankruptcy or something.
Yeah.
But still a form of bankruptcy, and not all businesses succeed, but
over 500 have succeeded, and not even a handful.
Yeah.
Pick a couple out of that 500 that didn't. I'll take that over a career politician every day of the week.
Yeah. If you're trying to, if you want to, let's say you had a company and you're trying to, hire somebody to come over and run your company, and during the interview process, I got two guys. One guy that's been successful and never had a single business fail. one guy that's had a few businesses fail to be successful, I'll take him because he knows how to lose and how to win. You know, he knows what not to do. Sometimes you need to know that. You know, you can't always be a winner all the time. It's just not realistic. So, you know, and that's where when you're a career politician, those type of lessons, you're living in this crazy bubble world that you never have to deal with that kind of stuff, you know. So how can you relate to the average person, you know? I mean, when you got Trump, who's, who knows, he would have to sit down. I'm sure he's got the number on exactly how many employees he has currently and how many he's employed over the years.
Oh, yeah.
From all races, religions, women, men. I mean, they tried in the beginning to spout off a little war on women on him, but they're stuck.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when Bill Clinton's your husband, it ain't gonna go over well when you try to go after a guy whose daughter and, you know, he's got, what was that, the first ever like project manager on a major construction project in New York was a woman. Like, he has all these women in places before this whole made-up war on women thing was even around. So he's got a great track record with that, you know, and that's just one thing that they can't go after is the war on women. Yeah. Not that they won't try.
We didn't touch on it in the beginning when we started about the DNC, but I thought it was very. If I was a liberal, I would have found it very discouraging that, you know, you turn on the TV and you expect to see some huge, you know, American convention, Democratic National Convention, and you don't see a single American flag on the stage.
Nope.
If I was any kind of a level-headed, and I use this term lightly, level-headed liberal,
it's impossible.
And I turned on the convention, I would have wondered what country the campaign was, you know, on television for.
Yeah. You could have showed us two pictures, the RNC and the DNC, and with zero names on them and said which one is which.
Yeah, with nobody standing at the podium,
I could have picked it
just
out.
the pictures of the stage.
Yeah.
I mean, 50 American flags on the, you know, RNC stage.
I mean, what a complete disgrace, you know.
And you got the mothers of the criminals, you know.
Yeah, they're marching family members of these criminals that have, you know, killed law
at the hands
enforcement.
of, you know, law enforcement.
But
You know,
yet-
I'm sorry, if your kid wasn't a criminal, you wouldn't be on stage in the first place.
Right.
You know, they're pandering to, and I hate to say it, they're pandering to the African American voter. You know, Hillary Clinton stands behind us. No, she doesn't. It's the biggest lie and one of the most extreme anti-law enforcement rhetoric agendas that I've probably seen in my entire lifetime. It blew my mind that they would have those people
I mean, I wouldn't even
here and speak and be on stage. And
can you imagine being at that meeting for, like, you know, the roundtable discussion on how are we going to set up this convention?
how should we fill some time slots in between?
One guy is like, you know, I think we should have, you know,
call up Mike Brown's
parent-
mom, yeah, and all her friends.
slap the shit out of that guy,
Yeah.
you know. I mean,
But you know,
get the hell out.
that's the party though.
But then, you know, they're, really? Well, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Let's bring him up and talk about the anti-cop. I
Kills
mean,
me.
not a single law enforcement officer out there could possibly be behind Hillary at all, because she's going to continue this anti-police officer rhetoric.
This is hearsay, and I didn't look into it, but a guy that I worked for the NSA for 20, 30 years, was in the Navy, huge right-wing conservative guy. First he asked me if I saw any uniformed police officers on the convention floor at the DNC. And it got me thinking, and I couldn't remember seeing any. And he said that's because they didn't allow any uniformed law enforcement officers around that stage or within, just because of that, you know, the criminal agenda in the Black Lives Matter movement right now. You know, the domestic terrorists who are, you know, burning down cities and, you know, setting fire to police cars and all that because, you know, their criminal friends ended up taking some lead in the chest. Just
for being criminals. You know, they, you know,
it just makes me mad more than anything else. I mean,
well,
I'm not surprised by anything anymore, but I do just continue to get more and more angry about everything.
sometimes the level of stupidity surprises me, but then when I look and I, you know, realize that it's the Democratic Party that's putting it on, then I understand the level of stupidity. You know,
yeah,
it's
like
far-fetched.
You know, saying that Trump is working with the Russians on his campaign.
Yeah,
Like,
what a bunch of idiots. That's what they're hanging on to, is little things like that.
You're mad about the only reason they're mad right now. This is like, you know, a sibling who got hit too hard and he's screaming for their mom before, you know, the other sibling calms him down. Be quiet, don't get me in trouble.
Yeah.
To say that the Russians hacking into the DNC email stream is a pro-conservative or pro-Trump backed agenda or movement is one of the dumbest. Vladimir Putin is not working with Trump on becoming president.
And
I can guarantee you that right now.
You know, yeah. And when has Hillary been concerned about email security? Like, it's all of a sudden, you know, it's this thing. Whoa, we gotta.
They weren't concerned until the emails were actually published. See, if the 30,000 emails she got rid of a month ago, if that information would have been published, then it would have been an issue, and then they would have tried to find a scapegoat and try to, you know, work in.
Right.
This is so and so's fault. This isn't Hillary's fault.
And those 30,000 emails were, you know, oh, I deleted those because that was just me and Chelsea talking about her wedding, blah blah. 30,000 emails.
Yes. Except for what, 20,000 have been confirmed to have classified information.
Who could? I don't. Have you sent 20 or 30,000 emails in your entire lifetime? Like, you'd have to do the math on how many you'd have to send a day. You know? That's just it. They'll say these things with zero worry that anyone's going to call them on it.
We played
just like, well, you know, 30,000, 60,000, whatever, and Democrats are like, well, you know, weddings take a lot of planning, you know, maybe there was 30,000 emails, you know.
Well, we planned our wedding with about 6 emails, and that was just credit card receipt. So
yeah.
It's.
You should have got a government loan for that.
Well, you know, I'm not a liberal, so
Yeah.
I work for a living. So.
Hey, you know what they should do on cop cars is when you call into 911, since liberals have such a problem with them, it should show up on your voter ID, be like, you know, oh, this person's a liberal or whatever, and then you just turn the volume off and, you know, cruise around in the rest of your patrol there. I mean, if cops are such a problem, then, you know, don't call the police anymore. Stop dialing 911. But they're the first ones to dial 911 and hide behind the cops when there's a problem,
Right.
you know?
But then, you know, scream and shout from the streets that they're oppressed and, you know, the police are out to get them.
I've got a clip somewhere of this lady's talking about her son getting shot or getting arrested or something for stealing, shoplifting all these clothes, and she's just like, well, how else is he supposed to get, you know, clothes? You know, it's like, I don't know.
Buy them.
You know, how else is he supposed to get clothes?
Goodwills do exist for a reason.
Yeah.
If you can't afford going to, you know,
Or who?
Banana Republic.
But then, you know, that's the mindset of, you know, that he deserves clothes. Like, I mean, it's not, you know, as crazy as it sounds, clothes are a luxury. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're telling me you don't have more than one shirt, you know, you can't find more than one fucking shirt in your whole closet, you know, and you got to steal all these clothes. And then, you know, what's really interesting, though, is on some of these videos, when you see, like, when they interview the parents, you're like, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we know where this kid gets it from, you know. I mean, they gotta lock the parents up for being just as stupid, you know. I mean, how many pictures of you know, parents that are, you know, gangbangers holding up guns and their kids right next to them holding up a gun. It's just like, I'm sure he'll, you know, be heading to law school. You know, he'll probably be just studying some law books from the prison library on the other side of the bar.
Got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, as funny as it all is, like with all these jokers, and you know, you think it doesn't affect you, but I mean, we gotta pay for all this trash, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, we have to pay for all this.
And like we've said on earlier episodes, like when the police deal with these criminals, they're not dealing with new criminals. They're rearresting the same tired ass people time and time again, and putting them in, and then they come out, putting them in.
Yeah.
These people are never going to amount to anything,
yeah.
but you know, draining our system. You know, and they basically, we have to support them.
Yeah, we buy them breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we give them bed to sleep in.
You know, if you were homeless, would you not commit a crime and go to jail? I mean, why not? It's, you know, you got AC in there, you got your own bed, all the sex you want.
Or don't want.
Or don't want. You set up, you know? Oh, man.
We're going to jump back to the DNC just because we forgot to talk about another thing.
Did we get too far off track?
And the first part is how stoked Bill Clinton is on balloons, first of all. And secondly, how much he hates hearing his wife speak. She was giving a speech after accepting the Democratic nomination, and Bill Clinton fell asleep. But I know that you saw the video of him on stage when all the balloons were dropping. He looked like a kid in a candy store on Christmas morning. I mean,
like you've never seen a balloon before.
no.
I think that's what happened, is all that balloon excitement wore him out. And then when he got time for the speech, it was just, whew. He couldn't.
I think that he's heard his wife rattle off lies for the last 40 years, and he's tired of hearing it. And, you know, as soon as she starts talking, it just starts. It's like a bedtime story.
A lullaby of lies.
There you go.
A lullaby. That guy. You know, he gave his, well, like everyone will say, love him or hate him. I mean, he's a piece of trash, but Bill Clinton is a good speaker. You know, what it comes out of his mouth, you know, is pure garbage, but he is a good public speaker. And he gets up there and he starts giving this speech about his wife, and he seems to like miss this whole block of time in the 90s where, you know, he got impeached by the
where
House.
He had assistants under his desk.
Yeah, so we need to hit the war on women on that end of things. And you know, he talks about how, you know, his wife is so amazing, and that I respect her this much, and blah blah blah, and she's so great. It's like, well,
What a joke that speech was.
I don't know if you like her that much.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of hopped right over into the early 2000s and then kept going on. It's like, let's talk about earlier.
How about Michelle Obama in 2008? Saying, if you can't run your own house, how can you run the White House? About Hillary, when she was running against Barack, but you know, this past week, you know, our friend Hillary Clinton is the only one suited to run the White House. Give me a break.
Just like Obama was saying, he was talking about when he gave his speech, he said nobody has ever been more qualified to you know, lead the country even more than me. It's like, that's not even close to what you were saying 8 years ago.
Yeah.
You're like, you know, this chick doesn't know what the hell she's doing, you know? Vote for me. Now all of a sudden she does know what she's doing. You know, and honestly, if you ask somebody, say, all right, you like Hillary Clinton, which, if somebody tells me that, let's talk. Why I'm interested in why you like her. Because if you just tell me that she's going to give me free college, you're out. Our discussion is over, you know. But you can't get on a piece of paper and show me, write down some of her accomplishments, you know.
Right.
I mean, you could look at all the successful ventures,
accomplishments.
yeah, legit accomplishments that she's, achieved.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
I mean, it's been scandal after scandal after scandal. I mean, non-stop. And there's a lot of scandals that we don't even know about because the people involved are dead.
Who was the guy that just dropped the barbell or the weights or whatever on his neck?
Yeah.
That was supposed to testify against Hillary. A day before he ends up dead. What do you know? I can't believe you're still alive after you interviewed her at the DNC yet.
Well, didn't you see toward the end things got a little sketchy?
I mean, she's been hanging around this whole episode. I can't believe she hasn't left yet.
I don't
At least chimed in.
Well, look, the reason you didn't see anything is because you were heading out while you left me back behind to fend for myself.
Well,
so, that's a lot of the reason why you didn't see anything.
you don't have to blame it on me.
Yeah. Well, I am. So, yeah, man, old, getting on back to the Hillary thing, she's repeatedly talked about these accomplishments that, I've never seen. We can go over a list of accomplishments on Trump's behalf. I mean, God knows what you said, over 500 businesses. I mean, there's multiple, not just accomplishments for him, but accomplishments for his employees.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of businesses that could have been, and I'm sure have been developed along the way, like, maybe somebody started a framing crew or a concrete crew or something, to support a project. And so those numbers on how many people he's employed are probably extremely low.
Yeah, I'd love to know that.
I bet it's extremely high on how many people he's affected.
Yeah.
Over the years.
Yeah. And still employs. I mean, that wouldn't change going into the office. That wouldn't change. He's still going to have all the businesses he runs now.
Because he has quite a competent family.
Yeah.
His sons and daughters.
I thought, I was actually pretty impressed with his kids' speeches at the RNC. I didn't really know what to expect. I kind of thought it'd be laughable, but they're all well spoken, and I didn't see it as fake.
Yeah.
Just hearing Chelsea Clinton, that's her name, right? Chelsea Clinton.
Yeah.
I listened to about 20 seconds of that before I shut it off.
Did you see what I posted on Facebook?
Oh, yeah.
It looked like she used all the food stamps. That joker was. She might want to take a few laps
soft
around the stage there before and after.
I just knowing the family, knowing about the family, what they've been to the American government.
The Clinton Foundation.
Just hearing their kid talk about it, if they had a son, I would want to fist fight him. just because.
Well, they got a daughter. How about that? You probably lose, so I probably would. I wouldn't suggest you fight her.
No.
She looks in a much higher weight class, so.
Yeah, I don't want to have to jump up 4 weight classes to get in the ring with her.
Yeah, true. I saw some tweets the other day that and it was up on Facebook and on Drudge. They were talking about I think it was must have been Donald Trump Jr. His the one son that gave the speech at the convention, and they were a couple people were talking about that he's very well spoken and very knowledgeable on things, and they should have him run for mayor in New York. When it comes back around, and with all the Trump presidency things, I don't think they've had a chance to really dive into something like that. But the best thing I had heard all week was, remember Anthony Weiner? He
only because of the last name.
Right, Democrat, New York, got busted just for being, total idiot. Sending all these naked pics to these escorts and stuff like that.
Right,
they were calling it like Wienergate and all this other shit. So he finds out that Trump Jr. is, it's been brought up that he should, you know, run for mayor of New York there. And he sends out this tweet that says that if he does, he will come out of retirement and run for mayor himself and beat him like a rented mule. So then the tweet from Trump Jr. is like, said something like, it's way too early to even talk about that type of thing. I don't think Anthony Weiner should be beating anything yet. That's quality, man. Those Trumps, man, they know how to use Twitter, that's for sure. Which was something that they really pushed during Obama's campaign. Like, he was unbelievable in his ability to use social media and
swayed
stuff,
younger voters that way. He swayed a bunch of incompetent voters that way, you know. Well, I'm going to invite, you know, Jay-Z to the White House and get all the, you know, young black kids to vote for me. It's like, come on.
And now
they fell for it, though. That's the only thing. They fell for it. Now we're, you know, $18 trillion in debt, and, you know, blacks hate whites, and, you know, police are degraded on a daily basis and, you know, left forgotten about, and it just...
I tell you what,
you know, I didn't ask for this kind of change. I mean, I don't know what kind of change he was campaigning for, but whoever voted for him, you know, brought a lot of hell on the United States.
He got changed. But he did exactly what he said he was going to do, and brought some serious change, that's for sure, in the wrong direction. You know, that, you know, the different economists have talked about the different strategies of parties over the years, and, you know, you hear the Cloud Piven strategy come up from time to time, which is some economist theory that, you know, in order to take a system down, you overload it from within and let it just crumble on its own.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, I'm looking at textbook, you know, that scenario, because at this point we can't, and the deficit shows it, we can't afford any of these insane programs,
right,
you know, that are going on. We're
already paying for
hemorrhaging. Crazy.
You know? And that's...
So you got to ask yourself, like the minority community, how good has all those programs worked out for you? It's done nothing but really push you farther and farther behind.
Right.
It's taken all the incentive to succeed out and created generations of people dependent on the state or the federal government to live, you know.
And it's the kids growing up in that, you know, it's a generational mindset because they don't know any different. So, you know, the people who abuse welfare and food stamps and workman's comp and everything else, you know, the kids growing up in that, they're just like, well, this is how we get by, you know, why would I try and, you know, better myself or get an education or get a full, you know, a career when I can, you know, I can get everything I need for free, you know, at the expense of someone who does have a career, someone who is trying to better themselves and also has a family to pay for.
So today's mentality is like the best possible situation for you is if you got into like a car wreck or something.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
and it's an instant
score.
It's an instant gratification mindset.
Boom! How much can I get? My neck.
And we see
everything.
We see it from, you know, just our views.
Yeah.
You know, Facebook. You know, we'll post a 20-second video, 2,000 views. But we post these, you know, an hour long, actually talking about something worth listening to, and, you know, 60 views, 70 views. And we're not bitter at all. but it's just so true to the mindset and where America is right now, is it has to be instant and it has to be, you know, something that the viewer or the gainer can receive something from just instantly. Otherwise, it gets written off. And I think social media, you know, that's a whole other episode. But I think social media has kind of twisted everyone into that kind of thinking.
Yeah, it is surprising that, you know, obviously, as a whole, the videos that we do that are short and all based on humor, those catch the most views. These longer ones we do for the podcast and YouTube channel, you know, they are what they are, but that's why we do both, so that people can have a little bit of everything. But, you know, having said that, for all you guys out there that message us and, you know, talk about wanting to come on the show and, you know, talk with us, I mean, sounds good. We've got a lot of people that have already, we're starting a list now of people that want to come on the show. So, you know, we're game. Just message us on Facebook or send us an email, and, you know, we'll talk about kind of what direction you want to go with an episode, and we'll see if we can build an episode around you.
Yeah. Email's easy, AmericanBeards@gmail.com. Shoot us a message on Facebook. You're already watching all these videos on Facebook, so I mean, don't be intimidated. Send us an email.
Yeah.
Just a couple of regular news.
Why not come hang out, join the program?
Yeah, I think we're looking at either getting some viewer submitted videos into the next couple longer podcast videos we do, or having guests on the show. And if it happens to be, you know, if you want to be on the show but you don't want to be, you don't want your name out there, or you don't want to be on camera or anything, we can work that out. We want to get as much input and as much outside opinions into the show as possible, except for the people who have opinions that are, you know, voting for Hillary.
We're down.
I don't really care about that.
We're down with all opinions
This
as long
show
as they're
isn't
not
for you.
opposite of ours.
Yeah. Well, that's, you know, at least we can agree with the liberals on something.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, seriously, we've gotten a few requests for people to be on the show. I got friends out of state, up north. Send us a video.
Yeah, if you guys want to contribute, that's just send us, make a little clip. Doesn't have to be long, you know, a couple seconds, whatever. Send it to us. We can either, you know, roll it into these YouTube videos, or we can post them online on Facebook. Or if you just want to send us personally a video and you don't want it to be published, I mean, that's fine too. Just let us know that, and we won't publish it. So, I mean, that's a great way of, you know, make up your own funny videos. You got a bunch of friends. There's plenty of lunatics out there that you can get together that'll, you know, light something on fire, jump something off something, you know. Just show us videos of you shooting. You know, let us know what you guys are shooting with out there, and, you know, we always enjoy those. But I think at the end of this, if you didn't see our video on the DNC, did we post that on YouTube?
It's on YouTube and it's on Facebook.
Alright, so if you guys missed out on our trip to the DNC, check it out on Facebook or YouTube, and you can see the hard-hitting questions that we did while we were there. But so, as always, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and next week we'll have a whole nother set of problems, because God knows there's plenty of them, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd say so.
So, Uncle Phil,
Thundercat,
another good one, buddy.
that's it,
We'll
man.
see you guys next week. Make America great again.